All right, welcome. Thank you for joining us for another episode. I'm Holly Martin.
I'm Ashley Kavanaugh, and this is our guest.
Lauren Gill with mylivelovetravel and the Community Difference.
Yes, Lauren, I have known her for a few years through networking. And if you ever need a travel agent, she actually has been almost everywhere in the world. Switzerland, Paris, France, Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So she actually can tell you where you're going and what the experience is like.
I'll create something amazing.
Yes, she will create an amazing trip, an unforgettable trip for you. I actually had her plan one of my trips, and it was phenomenal.
And I have a different perspective because I know of Lauren and I know more her from social media, like versus being in person. So I have this impression of who she is and stuff when I'm meeting her, and it lives right up to it.
Aw,
and so, I've always thought she's fun. I want to know her. So it's kind of brings us to like our thoughts this week about social media, how we show up, how are we supposed to show up, and the right and wrongs that we're told, and how some of it's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Lauren, we want to hear about what you see online that kind of pisses you off and you think's wrong or it bugs you.
Gosh, there's so much, right? With social media, I think about like what I'm posting. I think about what I see other people posting, and it's been around in our lives for a while now. I mean, I think 2009 is when I joined Facebook, which feels like forever ago. The first thing that I've always been a little bit sensitive to is I never want to come across as like I'm bragging. And I know like oftentimes parents, like when they're sharing things about their children or sharing things about like accolades that they've earned or things of that nature, like it comes from a good place. I have always like kind of restrained myself from doing that because I didn't want anybody to think that I was trying to be boastful and put this image out there that my children are perfect, my life is perfect. Mm-hmm. I've always tried to be kind of my authentic self out there. And so that's one thing that kind of drives me. It can rub me a little bit wrong because I'm just not sure how to receive that information. Mm-hmm. Like, what is your goal in mind? What is your motivation for sharing that?
Well, and there's a balance of being real and then sharing all your crap.
That's
right?
true.
So in 2010, I got divorced, and my kid's dad was a police officer. And he moved out in July, and it was that February, and I wrote something about my car went off the road in the snow. A cop came, I got in the back of the cop car, and he brought me home before my car could get towed out. And I wrote, like, first time in the back of a cop car. And a friend, like someone that knows me, wrote, like, oh, that's funny. I would have thought you'd been in the back of your husband's cop car at some point, haha. And I private messaged her, I'm like, we're divorced.
Oh, no.
And I was thinking, so I went through a divorce with a 1, 2, and 4-year-old. And I went like almost half a year, and like someone that's my friend that she lived in my town didn't know I was going through a divorce. So that's the question. Should I have put on there all the bullshit that goes on during a divorce? Because there was a lot. Or I showed up smiling still, usually talking about my business, showing the stuff with the kids. And I thought about that. I was like, wow, it looked like my life was great, but I was going through a really rough divorce. We were trying to sell the house, the basement flooded, just all the things that could happen. So
yeah. Where do we find that balance, mm-hmm. right? That's a great point. I mean, I like to share funny stories of things that I do that are stupid, like when I picked the wrong dog up from the groomer.
What?
Yes, and it's like I have friends who ask me to repost it over and over because they got like such a kick out of it.
You picked the wrong dog up at the groomer.
Yes, in my defense,
they're the same breed, right?
Well, they were both golden. And in my defense, it was the first time that dog had ever been to a groomer. She was a new dog to us. She had been my brother's dog. He'd passed away, and we took her in. And the dog I picked up did look quite a bit slimmer, but I was like, maybe she had that much hair. And again, in my defense, they called and told me my dog was ready. So, long story short, I took her back and I got the right Abby.
It could be worse. I think I've heard stories of, dads picking up the wrong baby.
That would be a lot worse. That would be a lot worse. So I like to put things out there to show like I am this imperfect person, or it's fun to share things that might be inspiring to people. And of course I talk a lot about travel and business and wine and all of the things that are kind of fun. But it's a great point. Like, how much detail do we need to go into? Mm-hmm. And especially, I don't know about y'all, but I have a lot of people who are my friends and I'm not even completely sure who they are.
Oh yeah. I have to look who our mutual friends are. Sometimes I can't even tell, look at that mutual friend. It's the mutual friend is then like, oh, that was someone that I knew back in Illinois.
Right.
Like, because I don't even know 2 people removed. So why are we friends with them?
Right. Yeah. Algorithms.
The thing with social media is we have, they say post for your audience. Well, I have like 3 to 5 different audiences.
Right.
I have family, cousins, second cousins, people from networking, actual friends. So it's hard to please everybody on social media.
For sure.
So it's like, okay, every now and then here's a photo of my kid to, you know, show people I never see that live in different states how he's doing. But then there are all these people I'm networking with, so I need to also be professional and show them websites.
Right.
And then with my friends, it's like my core people, they already know what's going on in my life. I tell them what's going on with Damien, my son, and I don't feel the need to constantly post about him.
Yeah.
Because they know what's going on. Versus if I meet up with Holly, we talk about Damien and I show her photos and she talks about her kids.
Right. It's more of a business connection because a lot of the people that we probably are friends with on social media are people that we've met through networking. We, you know, are wanting to support each other's businesses, or they're looking at it as this is an opportunity for somebody else that I can sell to, or which is another thing that drives me kind of crazy is there are certain companies out there that will constantly post about their product and they've been told that that's what they should do. And I'm not going to name names about what who some of these direct sales companies are. I'm thinking of a skincare one in particular. But they tell people, their consultants, that they should post like 20 times a day. I end up unfollowing people because I'm like, that's not anything authentic to you. I actually don't see anything about who you are as a human. It doesn't have to be your family and your kids necessarily. But all you're trying to do is sell me, and I don't need that noise in my life.
This is a highlight reel. And just going back to whenever I see people's thing, I'm like, Facebook is a highlight reel. And so it's actually not real life. And we talked about it in the previous episode, how people, are curating. I've like Smile Girls, I'm like, oh, clean, there's stuff like on the bar, you know, and I'm like, put your stuff over. I don't want there to be like a pile of mail and clutter in the picture. But that's my real life. There's mail and clutter on my bar.
Absolutely.
You know, but I'm like, isn't that interesting that I didn't want that in there because I didn't want that to show that way.
And well, your parents follow you, and then it's like, okay, how do I please my friend group, professional world, family, and still be myself and fun without everyone being so judgmental? And because I'm also trying to represent my business.
And it didn't used to be like that.
It used to just be ridiculous.
It used to be easier almost. We didn't take all this into consideration.
Now we're all being watched. The 3 of us, we have like 10 different hats. Like I am in a co-ed soccer league. I own a business. I cook dinner almost every night. I'm a mom. I love happy hour. I'm in networking. I'm a web designer. So it's like, which person do I want to be online to let everyone know I'm a well-rounded, not psychopath? Trust me.
I think what you said, my 16-year-old summed it up. I told you, we built a trip to Costa Rica, and I was really excited. And I started making a story to be like, yay, family trip. And I was like, I didn't post it. And I'm like, she's like, what's going on? I'm like, I feel like I'm bragging. Like, oh, we get to go. And she's like, anyone that thinks you're bragging doesn't know you. And anybody that doesn't want to see that will not follow you. So post it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I was like, that's wisdom from a 16-year-old.
Right.
You know, but it does stuff I'm excited about. I want to put it up, but I second guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that is happy going in my life, but there's some hard things going on now, and I'm not posting those. So I'm just posting the happy and not the hard. So then I default to posting nothing.
I was going to say, it's almost like walking on eggshells sometimes, and nobody enjoys that feeling, I don't think, where you're like, and then you end up frozen because you're like, I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to default to not posting. And that's not beneficial.
We're not alone
either.
Though. Everyone else is probably thinking the same thing.
That's
They're
true.
all like overthinking everything they post.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cheers.
Sante. You're supposed to make eye contact when you toast
let me do that
people.
again.
Okay.
Cheers. Yes, there's a reason behind it.
What is it?
There's 2 reasons. One was, let me sip first. The first reason is, back in olden times, like, you had to make eye contact because this is likely a business transaction or some sort of financial transaction. So they wanted to make sure that you're on the up and up.
Okay.
Now, if you go to Europe, if you don't make eye contact, you're doomed to 7 years of bad sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you're at a table in Europe and you're with like a bunch of Germans, it's like Prost, 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 Prost.
Look in the eye.
Another
Gotta
fun
look
fact
everybody
about
in the eye. Yeah.
Lauren, who's worldly, live, love, travel.
Yeah,
been
my live,
everywhere.
love, travel,
She
yes.
also knows everything about champagne and wine. And
I do enjoy my wine and beverages.
I love when we go out to lunch and she does like the swirl thing.
I don't think I'm quite that dramatic, but
I need to record you next time. You don't do that with champagne, though, right?
No,
Okay.
not. I mean, you can definitely like try to inhale some aromas, but if you swirl it, I mean, you've got all the bubbles in there.
This does taste better than what I brought.
I'm glad to hear it.
It does.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm glad I put mine back in the fridge.
You know what? If it's like the second bottle, you won't mind so much.
That's true.
Right? You can downgrade.
That applies to, alcohol and who you sleep with that night. Anyways.
Facts. Okay.
There's danger in sharing too much.
Yeah.
And some things come out that people don't want to come out via social media, whether intentional or not.
Dangers of social media.
I always look at like who's like if I get a new follower, like who they are, and then I'll go and click on them. And this has been a shared experience that I feel like a lot of women have had, but it's usually like a widowed or divorced Army general, and he's been on Facebook for like 3 seconds, and you're like, oh, and he'll write like some post like from 5 years ago, and he'll write something about, oh, you're so beautiful, and I want to get to know you or whatever, and you're like, that is a red flag, and so immediately like block. So yeah,
I get those, but what's more concerning is that we already have 30 mutual friends, so they put effort into whether it was me or my other mutual friends following enough people. And then I'm like, that's how many people approved this person's request.
Right.
Am I the only one that's
saying no?
Yeah.
It gives almost a false sense of security, right? Because then you're like, oh, other people have vetted this person. It must be fine.
Well, within networking, I will meet people and I forget. So I'm like, oh, we have 50 mutual friends in this organization. So it's easy to go, oh, I don't want to be an asshole.
Right.
I'll approve them because I probably just forgot about them. But then when I really do digging, I'm like, I don't think this guy is a real person.
Right. I know. I have a friend who said that you should look, and I don't know that this is hard and fast, but maybe a minimum of like 100 people in common.
I think sometimes Facebook can be like a dating profile in
It
the sense
is,
where
definitely.
you just put out your. You seen the Tinder Swindler? You ever seen that on Facebook?
Oh,
it's a Netflix.
I've
show.
heard about it. Yeah.
I had the Facebook Swindler. It was the exact same thing, but it was someone did it to me on Facebook that happened to the girl in the show on the Tinder Swindler. And
what is that about?
Oh gosh, a
Give
guy
me like a 2 second.
shows up. He's rich. He's whatever. He wines and dines, and then his assets are frozen because something happened. So then you pay for stuff. Then you go. Then he kind of takes over, steals your identity, takes money. Then you find out he's a criminal, and it's scary. And then that's where hopefully you get out safely. The person in the show did not.
Did he look like himself? Like, was it really him, or was it like somebody in Bangladesh or Russia or something?
No, it was him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
on
but
Tinder Swindler, they met in person.
Oh,
Okay.
they met in person. Okay.
Wow.
Well, they met on a dating app and then met in person.
What a psychopath.
Go watch it. It is eye-opening.
It also, right. It also makes me wary of posting things that are family related because, I mean, I've got, 2 kids, and I think my daughter's beautiful and amazing.
She is beautiful.
And thank you. And so my Instagram for, at being on vacations with Lauren is public because it's only really travel and wine related. But Facebook will automatically post what I post there into that Instagram account. So I have to go in and delete it if it's my daughter because I don't want her out there publicly. Now she has her own Instagram and it could be public. So I can't control like what she does on her end, but I can control what I do on mine.
That's scary. I don't like posting Damien too much on Instagram because there are weirdos out there, like printing photos of children. I couldn't imagine having a daughter. Like, both you and Holly having a daughter. I would be so protective and psycho.
Girls. But you brought up a great point earlier before we started, just talking about how, again, like personas on social media and as women, the challenges that we experience with wanting to appear confident and strong with what we know.
Confident women.
Yes.
Shat on. Yeah, I feel like it is harder for women than men. People don't take more than 2 seconds to analyze, oh, a man posted a photo of himself but if a woman does it, it's like, oh, she's asking for too much attention, or she's dressed a little too scandalous, or she looks a little too aggressive and confident in this photo. It's like we can't win.
No, it's true. I know, unless a guy is like working out or like it's his abs or something most of the time, there's not a lot of judgment that happens there. But for us girls, there is a lot of kind of like threading the needle and navigating what's going to be received well.
Definitely. And coming off as nice, whatever, but then as powerful, told you got to smile. It's Yeah, girls aren't assertive, they're bitches.
Right.
You know, and guys would be like a boss if he shows up that way.
Right.
I get that all the time. I mean, it really is just resting bitch face. And then some of it really is, I don't like you. But
Right. And if you know Ashley, you know which one it is.
yeah. You would know if I didn't like you. This is just my face.
Well,
But then everyone's like, no, you should smile more when you walk into a door.
Right.
Someone just said that to me 2 weeks ago. You should smile more. I'm like, well, tell a joke. Like, I don't.
right, make me laugh.
Like, what? Like, walking into a room doing.
I think part of that, though, too, like I'm an introvert by nature, but I have learned to be more extroverted, especially through networking and things like that. So I heard things like that, too, that people thought I was a snob, or they thought I was unfriendly, or that I didn't like them. And it's really just my natural state of being is to go in and observe and watch. And social media can be like that, too. Like maybe I'm just observing and I'm not going to like and comment right now. And so they experience it in a way that I don't intend, that it's not that I don't like you, or that I don't know, that I am in a bad mood. It's just I'm just watching and paying attention, and then I'll decide when I want to engage.
I will say a lot of it is with knowing Lauren and knowing me. We really are awesome. So we,
Yes,
so we
you
do
are.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Holly is too, by the way.
Holly is awesome. Holly's so friendly, though. I
Yes,
don't feel
yes.
like you have that problem.
No, it's true.
I have
It's
the
true.
people around me that don't even know me, and they swear, and they look at me and go, sorry. And I'm like, why did you just apologize? We're all like grown-ups. Or
Right.
my kids will be there, and someone will say something inappropriate. And I didn't know what scissoring was.
Oh,
And my kids are around.
when did you learn that?
This the other day. And they're scissoring, and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, don't say that in front of her. And so I'm like, it's the opposite, where we want
That's
to just protect
funny.
Holly because she doesn't know
You're
stuff.
precious.
Yeah, I learned
Yeah.
that. But I don't even say anything. I walk up with a smile, and people just assume that. They don't even know me.
Yeah.
And it comes out. So it's very interesting how like much that goes forward without saying anything.
Yeah.
The same way in the opposite sense.
The
you guys.
energy, the aura, the mannerisms, and facial expressions. Like
Right.
I
feel like I need to be smiling right now.
I know. I always say your energy walks in the room before
I
you go.
love
Right.
that you learned what scissoring was. So this weekend, I learned what a beaver was.
Really?
Holly doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, like,
Do you?
well, the other name.
Hello, it's like an airplane, which is way before your time, my friend.
Wait.
I don't know
I
an
don't know what
airplane.
airplane
Are
is.
you familiar with the movie Airplane?
No.
No.
Oh, bless.
But y'all know what beaver is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, like,
Yeah?
the name for your privates.
yeah, what
Yeah. I've always heard.
That doesn't, like, why would it be named a beaver?
I wonder if that was more like
That
we're
blows my
older than
mind.
her, and that was like
Right.
it kind of stopped at that point, and they
Right.
don't call it that. They don't call
Waxing
it-
became more popular.
My kids say coochie, maybe. Like it's-
Coochie?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like beaver has more to do with like volume.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess that's a good thing I don't know what beaver is.
It's something I actually know. Look at that.
I know. Okay, what were we talking about? Okay. Women being perceived and based off, yeah, okay.
Right,
So
being an
Holly-
introvert.
Everyone thinks that
yes.
Holly is just
precious.
precious.
Yes.
Everyone thinks I should smile more, and I'm a bitch. And I will give credit where credit's due. I can be a bitch, but
I think it's in all of us.
But I mean, Lauren does have higher standards, so you do probably are like, are you worth getting to know? Are you worth getting to know? Are you worth?
That's
are
not
you
true.
worth drinking?
I would say, are you worth drinking? Yes. And are you worth drinking with?
Yes. Those are good questions to ask. Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Eye contact. Eye contact.
Oh, sorry.
Cheers. Cheers.
Yes, but being a woman more specifically, I feel like what we wear, how we act, how much we smile, how much we don't smile, online or in person.
It's true.
It is, I mean, honestly, we can't please everyone.
No. Yeah. In real life and on social media.
Yeah, either not posting enough about family, or proving that you have a family, or posting enough about work, or posting about fishes holding their breaths and dying. Like, we can't
It's true.
have
It's
it
true.
all.
Mhm.
So,
No. And the other thing that I was thinking about too earlier that I'll just briefly bring up is social media in our world as entrepreneurs and people who are self-employed. Facebook, Instagram, like that is our LinkedIn. We are not in the corporate world, and LinkedIn's very buttoned up and professional. we have to do all of our branding and marketing pretty much on Facebook and Instagram, maybe TikTok. I know that's a polarizing subject for some folks. My point is that is our marketing, and so we are using those platforms to market ourselves and market our businesses.
Yeah.
And it again creates that need for being selective about what we share.
Yeah.
The no like trust factor. So I would put out my whole life, and then someone I knew would come over that never met my kids, and they would look at, Alyssa, how was your play? Oh, Piper, how's it going with whatever? And they would be like,
You crazy
and
person.
they're like, how do they know everything about me? And they
Right.
smile and nod. And then at a point, I'm like, they probably know a little too much
Right.
about them. Like, I'm going to reel that back a little bit. So
Yeah, awkward for them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Lauren, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
Yes.
having me.
It's been
was a
so
blast.
fun.
Mhm.
I always love time with you girls.
Yes. Here's to everyone. Just stop overthinking, putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Your people will find you and stick around. And your haters will keep watching because they want to see what you're going to do next.
Haters gonna
Facts.
hate.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
12 subscribers. Thank you for watching this episode. If you are watching and you're not one of our 12 subscribers, please subscribe. There's
Yeah.
like a little button down there. I'm going to point at it. Everyone point at it.
Yes. Like and
No, there.
comment.
The corner over there.
Oh, it's
over
over
there.
there.
Yeah, it's over
that way.
there. Yes. Comment, leave comments, leave feedback. And all right. Let's exit this with a cheer.
Yes.
Cheers.
Fucking
Cheers.
awkward.